All right, time now for our rants and raves of the week. And we start with you, Dan.
I have a rant for Twitter, which over the past few months has been gradually making it impossible for services that were providing this service to capture the tweets of politicians and flag them if they were deleted, so that we would know that whether they had embarrassed themselves or not. I mean, imagine if Kurt Schilling were running for office. Some of the tweets that he's put out that you would want to capture.
Why can't we capture them?
Well, they were dependent on using Twitter's API, and it turned out that it was a violation of Twitter's terms of service for using its API. So they've kind of jammed it in a way so that these services can't grab the data anymore.
Twitter has believed that there is a right to be forgotten, that if you delete your tweet, it's okay for it to disappear, which might be all right for the common user, but not for a president or a senator.
But I want to reassure you, this has nothing to do with Twitter executives' desire to suck up to the political establishment in these countries where these services were operating.
Oh, not a thing. Not a thing.
Just want to make sure you knew that.
All right, who's next? Prompter's gone. Who's next?
I can go?
Go ahead.
Josh.
I have a rave for Annalee Newitz, who writes for Gizmodo, which is one of the Gawker family of sites. One of the big debates around ethics in journalism the last couple of weeks has been around the Ashley Madison hack and leak, this enormous database of all the users of Ashley Madison, the site for people who want to have an affair. And lots of ethical discussions. Is it okay to identify, if you found Barack Obama in there, would it be okay to report that? And in the end, a really smart take in the story by Gizmodo, in which she took this giant data set and analyzed how many women were actually using Ashley Madison. They advertised, they said that they had 5.5 million women using the service. She found very quickly that most of those accounts were just made up, were inventions to let the men on the site pretend that they were women they were talking with. In the end, out of 36.5 million accounts, about 12,000 were actual human females. So in the end, you have it was a great story that showed the amazing injustice of the fact that this site made an enormous amount of money giving men the illusion of trying to have an affair. I thought it was just a really nice take and a smart story.
They got what they paid for.
All right, who's next?
Joanna.
Sure. I have a rave for Lauren Lipton. She is a veteran journalist, and she recently got an email from an assistant for Arianna Huffington saying, we saw in one of your articles in the Wall Street Journal a citation of a Gallup poll that had some information about hotels, and can you help us with that information, because Arianna wants to use it in her book. And Lauren sent an email back saying, tell your boss that if she would like me to do research for her, then she needs to pay me, unlike all of the journalists who she entices to write for Huffington Post for free or for exposure, devaluing the market for journalism completely. The weird thing is, I did a little experiment. I set a stopwatch and I Googled that Gallup survey and found it in about 20 seconds. So I don't know, maybe Arianna Huffington has an unpaid intern assistant and gets what she paid for. I don't know why she even needed this woman's help.
Or maybe we've learned she doesn't know how to use the internet.
Maybe she doesn't.
Wouldn't that be telling?
That's shocking.
Isn't that crazy?
No, shouldn't pay her?
Yeah.
I mean,
Google it yourself.
Isn't that against the law?
Apparently not. Isn't that how the Huffington Post
makes their business
millions?
model. Yeah.
I don't know why anybody would write without some, small, like $5, something.
Right.
Well, even $5 depresses the market for journalism pretty poorly.
Next.
Me.
John.
I have a rave for DanShaughnessy, Chad Finn, and I think others at the Globe who have written very aggressively and critically about Nesson's decision to let the wonderful Red Sox play-by-play guy Don Orsillo go at the end of the season. We, myself included, have kind of nagged at the Globe ever since Henry bought them over, conflict of interest, are you disclosing? In this case, without any worry about it angering the boss, they went right after him, and they went after him hard. Bravo for just telling it like it is without worrying about it.
And sign the petition at change.org.
Why haven't they actually explained what this is about? I mean, do we
Nesson?
know? Yeah.
Apparently they don't
How about
explain
Don?
anything.
Well, why doesn't Don say?
Well,
I'm sure he can't say.
Right, he's playing it cool. But I agree. Why isn't Nesson coming out and explaining something to all the loyal fans who are wondering what on earth is going on?
Because there's no good reason, I would suspect.
Yeah.
But I mean, don't they have a long kind of track record of sort of throwing people out once they get really popular? Tina Servaso, all those. I mean, I think of a bunch of people who they've had
They're less important to the product, though. This is the face of the brand, and they're just letting him go with very little explanation.
And what's it been, 14 years? And frankly, I know not all of you are Remy fans, but I am. And there have been many seasons where night after night, the only real reason to watch is because you enjoy their banter. And, you know, the whole pizza throwing incident was a classic. You know, it's kind of fun TV on a summer night. And Dave O'Brien, the replacement, is a very good play-by-play guy. But, gee, I don't know. I think they may come to regret this.
I mean,
I like Dave O'Brien
we all
on the
speculated
radio.
back when Jerry Remy's son murdered his girlfriend that Jerry Remy himself was going to be in trouble for that. And you'd think that,
who knew
that
that
maybe
he was-
the Red Sox would have thought, you know, that some of that bad karma was going to brush off on them. But, you know, they kept him and let Don Orsillo go.
Well, there's been a lot of speculation that Remy's role is going to at least change next year as well, and that they're going to unveil a whole new team.
Well, that'll
and
make
that-
all the difference.
And
in
well,
how they play.
absolutely. You know, one of the things that has come out is that they're concerned that the ratings are down, and of course it must be Don Orsillo. It couldn't have anything to do with this horrendous product they've been putting out on the field night after night for the last 2 years.
Losing does that, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, if we have time here, the television and radio too, sort of at its best in certain formats, creates a sort of a family feeling. You're a familiar fixture in my bedroom or living room. I kind of like you, or I like having you around. This gets back to your point about us not being nanny staters when it comes to shielding the eyes of viewers from stuff. Well, how would you feel about, you know, your own friends or family? Isn't it your instinct to want to at least see that information is presented tastefully to them? And with Don and Jerry, it's like family members.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't get that. I don't know.
Guess they don't. Well, we do have a couple minutes left, and I just want to say I have a rave tonight for WCVB, specifically the morning team, who tweeted out something really sweet this week. It said, "We stand by you." That's not it. There it is. "We stand by you, WDBJ7." And it was just, I thought it was very touching. That's the morning team from one morning team to the next. And I think basically every news team in America felt the same way about that this week, and probably maybe especially morning teams. There's a vulnerability about the morning teams. You're up at 3 in the morning, you're out doing live shots. It was 6:45 a.m. when that young woman was standing on that balcony in that plaza there. So I think people identify maybe.
Yeah.
There's been a
Closely
lot of
within-
class shown.
Oh,
in the
especially
wake
by
of this.
DBJ. I know Jeff Marks, by the way, just to interject. He was the news director at WCSH and also the GM. I've known him for years. He was also the head of RTNDA, so I actually have known him very well over the years. I wrote him a note today. I think he's handled this with great dignity and class, and his whole operation should
Absolutely.
feel
I understand
good
that one of WDBJ's competitors actually volunteered to essentially take over their coverage for the day so that the
Really?
DBJ people could
That's it. I wonder
warn
how
what
that
had
would have
happened.
worked.
But they said, no, we're gonna move
Yeah.
ahead.
All right. Well, that is it for our show. Tell us what you think. Email us, tweet us, or leave a comment. We're always on at beatthepress.org.